Fred Dodge, he leaves the scene, he goes home, police come into contact with him, and they must have asked him, why did you shoot Sam? And he must have given them some kind of a reason, but what did he say the reason was?
Well, I know it was a setup. The police were involved in the shooting of Sam, at least 2 weeks ahead of time.
No, I
we
understand
knew that.
That's the conclusion. I understand
remember
that's the conclusion.
Remember that the public, what the police went with publicly was that Fred didn't shoot Sam, that Sam accidentally shot himself.
Oh yeah, he said.
Right.
That
so I mean, as far as I understand, he never had to really defend that. If I'm understanding.
No, but they loved that. You see, it was a big lie.
Yeah, right.
He went on the porch. He's very smart. He's about 6'8" too, big hands, and he could have. Why did he go on the porch with a gun like that? He had been sent there. There was no question that Fred was sent on that mission.
Okay, the conclusion is that Fred was sent there, but what reason did Fred give for being on the porch? What reason does Fred say he went over there?
Oh, he was never asked publicly because they knew. The police knew. The people who were all questioning him and all, they knew. They were involved, so he was never asked that. I mean, the grand jury trial, the hearing, was a farce. I mean, it was just sickening. I read all of it. It was just full of lies, ramblings around, all the way from A to Z. Fred Dodge was being protected because he was working with a police department.
Well, how is he working with the police department? Has that been established? How is he working with?
Because they wanted Sam out.
Right, I know, but how do we establish that he was working with the police department?
Well, you really can't because everything with all the files were sealed. Right. That's why they sealed the file. I mean, you can't get anything when a file is sealed. We tried to get the judge down there to open it. A lot of Americans, quite a few, not many really, they wrote asking that the files be opened. And they didn't even get any response. So
the charges have been dropped against Dodge?
Dodge was never arrested.
Never arrested?
No, never charged. But there was an official paper that I have. Lieutenant Beaumont was the one who picked Fred up in the beginning after it happened, and he filed some sort of a paper, which was the first piece of evidence we had that the police at that point were about to arrest him. But they didn't. But there is that number one paper, it's somewhere in my files, which said that he'd been picked up, and this was assault with a weapon. But that paper was, thrown away.
Was it ever established whether or not Sam shot himself or whether Fred shot him?
No. No, they just lied their way through. The whole thing was arranged by the DA and the Attorney General at that time, who's now our governor, Mills, and the police chief Sawchuk, working with Dodge.
Now, does Sam survive the shooting, right?
Well, he was declared dead at the hospital.
Right, but he's
he
alive.
Did survive it.
Okay.
He survived it. Amazing. Through the femoral artery. You're meant to be dead in 5 minutes. They got him to the hospital. It took them 25 minutes from the time the eyewitness called the police department to get him to the hospital, and he only lives a 5-minute walk from the hospital. Excuse me. How about it? They figured he would be dead. And lo and behold, he survived.
Has Sam ever
and that
pursued...
must have been their worst nightmare that night when they found out that Sam Iserbyt was still alive and able to talk.
Now, has he ever pursued a civil lawsuit against Dodge?
No.
Does Dodge have any money?
No, that was why he has no money. No.
But how about maybe his own homeowners? I don't know. We'd have to take a look.
Right.
Well, how is Sam doing today?
Well, he's moved away from here. He's living about an hour from here, and I think he suffered so much from the whole thing. I did too, and we fought so hard for 2 years, and we finally realized we had friends who'd been through sort of similar things nothing this bad, but they said, you're never going to, just give up. You'll never win against the criminal justice system in probably any state, but definitely in Maine. We have a very, very criminal justice system. And people did advise us, but we were so upset about what had happened.
Yeah.
And my feeling was, if this can happen here, it can happen anywhere. That's Charlotte's whole life. And so we fought it. And I'm glad we did. It's going to make a good book. I'd like to write a book on it. I've got everything, all the notes I took for how long, for 2 years at least, and papers submitted, going to court, everything we've got. It's all chronologically arranged, and it's disgusting. It's just the most disgusting criminal justice system I believe in the country, although people tell me there are other things, but they're not quite as interesting as this one, I don't think, because Samuel was clearly, he's not the type to, he was active combat in the Marines, but he was a very fine gunner, but he was on, one of those tanks,
right,
shooting from a long distance away in the desert,
yeah.
And they always had him first. But he never did, close-up shot anyone or even an animal.
So
He's never done that.
We are out of time. What do you want to leave the audience with? What do you want to leave us with, Charlotte?
Well, that as long as such types of absolute crime exist in our communities, people have to take a stand. Or have they just succumbed to a police state mentality, and they're going to keep quiet?
And how about you, Jake? What do you want to leave us with?
Well, I just might add a few details. Sam did actually confront Mayor Ethan Strimling at a Heritage Foundation meeting where he asked whether or not, the mayor was going to actually investigate the audio that he had sent, the discovery audio. And then there was an interesting, she talked about this tangled web of corruption. Well, the way it works at the end of it is that when Mills gets elected mayor, basically all the people that she mentioned, including Southstruck, they all move up in rank and they all take up each other's positions. And so it just kind of died. One of those would be Southstruck, and so now he's the safety commissioner. So I mean, if you look at my article, because I know you're out of time, the attempted assassination of Sam Iserbyt ? I name all the names and what I'm mentioning now to wrap up without wasting more of your time.
No, I got you.
Well, you have to. That article of yours is extremely good, and you didn't finish your sentence, Jake, on the Heritage Foundation luncheon. When Sam was there, I wasn't. Steve Schran was there, and when Sam confronted him very politely, just said, "Ethan, don't you remember the conversations we had in regard to the shooting?" Because they'd had 2 or 3 conversations, very friendly ones. What had happened? And the mayor said, "Oh, he didn't recall." Oh, and Sam said, "Oh, and then was when the audience, all chimed in saying, "Shut up and sit down."
Right. That's in the article as well. And the audio, and I have the audio for when he went and recorded what he said, so you can listen to him say that. You can listen to him respond as such. So this is all documented.
And what website would we find this article at?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's on intrepidreport.com.
Intrepidreport.com.
Jake,
Yep.
Why didn't you show that article to? Come on, Jake.
Oh, I know. I mentioned the title. I just keep forgetting to mention the source. Most of my articles go on every. If you just Google it, it's on several publications. But shout out to Bev Conover, editor of Intrepid Report, for publishing that. She's awesome. She published my first article, and she really got me started on actually being, I guess a citizen journalist, because I'm not a credentialed journalist, but I use my academic, my master's in rhetoric and English to, for my.
And
journalism.
Charlotte, do you have that article up at deliberatedumbingdown.com too?
Yeah, I do. You mean
yes.
Jake's article?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So people can go there to deliberatedumbingdown.com or the Intrepid Reporter. What was it called again?
Intrepid Report.
The IntrepidReport.com. Thank you so much. We got Jake Kleisek from School World Order and Charlotte Iserbeet from the Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks much, Ed.
Good night.
Thank you very much.